So here's Floyd's genius. Floyd's genius is that we have a very loyal following in people of KZN. If Bushiri's people come on, very loyal, and they don't care what anyone says about anything except the person in charge, you might be able to add another 5% on your percentage of your votes that you get. Because Bushiri filled stadiums. Bushiri filled stadiums in South Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the On the Country podcast.
Am I allowed to swear here?
In Sweden.
Yeah, I know we said let's not blame the government.
It's just sad when we start them becoming indoctrinated. Your view on me.
Hi guys, Emilio Tobias here and welcome back to another episode of the On the Country podcast. Today is Easter Monday, the day after Easter Sunday, so they say. We have been awoken by thousands of WhatsApp statuses saying he has risen, he has risen. The first thing that comes up in my mind is like, how did they know immediately? Do you know what I mean? If you went to go check the grave, like they do in most parts of Limpopo, because people steal coffins, handles of coffins, people steal expensive coffins. So now you need to build burglar bars, or you need to put big rocks on the thing, cover the grave or tomb with a stone, so that they don't steal the jewelry of the corpse, so that they don't steal the silver or gold handles of the coffins, or if it's an expensive coffin, they can steal the whole coffin. So my question is, when they walked back into the tomb, whether it's Easter Sunday or Easter Monday, someone must just tell me which day he rose. Was it on the Sunday or was it on the Monday? Because it's either the public holidays on a Monday as well, because Sunday is holiday. But how did they know that he had risen and that he hadn't been stolen? Do you know what I mean? Or moved or taken somewhere else? How did they know he has risen? Okay, maybe he said it before. Maybe he said it before and they anticipated it and they said to him, come back. Come back after 3 days, I'll be gone. Begs another question. The world has become so much about court proceedings and what's the name, evidence, analyzing evidence and all those things. If they only open the grave on Monday, how do we know he didn't rise on Saturday? Do you know what I mean? We discovered he was missing on day 3. Doesn't mean he went missing on day 3. Don't shoot me, just asking. The point of it is not the facts of it makes sense. The point of it is the message. But just a side note, that doesn't invalidate the story, because what's more important is the message and what they intended to say. No one watches Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones and says, no, dragons aren't real, bro. Dragons were, yeah, we know dragons aren't real, but what were they? What's the story trying to tell you? You know? Anyway, very interesting things. Very interesting. Someone whose popularity was resurrected this Easter, Good Friday, was Bushiri. Is his name Shepherd Bushiri, or is it like a title as in like the Lord is our shepherd type of a thing? Because one of his titles is also prophet. So is Shepherd his name, or is Shepherd his title? Would be interesting if his name was Shepherd. That means his parents saw this thing in him for a long time. And home is like drastically popular. So Floyd Shivambu, for those of us who know already, Floyd Shivambu went to Malawi, drove to Malawi, maybe flew to Malawi. I don't know if Malawi has an airport or airports, or do you fly next door and then drive the rest of the way? whatever the case might be. I'll check. I'm sure SA Link does fly to Malawi. Anyway, Floyd Shivambu, Secretary General, ex-Deputy President of EFF, went to Malawi to attend a service, which was quite like the quality of the auditorium they were in, and the sound and the lighting and all of that was from the stereotypes you've heard about how bad things are in Malawi. That was a quite surprising and shocking thing. Sorry, I'm touching my face so much, but anyway, Floyd Shivambu goes there. And there's backlash all over. Twitter's like, hey, what's this guy doing? And then they're posting pictures of Zuma and Bushiri back in the day. Now there's Floyd saying, thank you, you're such a good man. Bushiri is tweeting saying, hey, you're such a good man. Here's an upstanding guy. And immediately I'm like, okay, cool. This is such a dope political move. Because Bushiri still has a very big following in South Africa. And I was thinking the reason for the association with Bushiri and openly associating with him was, of course, the reason why you go to churches, the reason why government people go to church on Easter or on Christmas is to show the religious or Christian community that they are Christian and they are God-fearing and all those things. But now, this guy is a fugitive. I'm not really sure what his crimes were in the first place. Probably money things. Or I don't know if it was women. I don't think it had to do with women. But he is a fugitive. As much as he hasn't been tried for all his other wrongdoings, the fugitive thing is pretty much a dead, clear-cut thing. Similar to Zuma's, what they call it, when you don't listen to the court. Contempt. I think being a fugitive is similar to being in contempt, if it's not exactly the same thing. Which maybe is like you're guilty before the case. What's my point? Floyd, Secretary General or leader in MK Party, whose support mostly come from Zulu people. And if we don't want to be tribal about it, the support mostly comes from KZN, which is a predominantly Zulu area. Now, if you align or associate with Bushiri and who his followers or following might be, and I'm thinking they might still have like a good online service every Sunday, and most of it probably from South Africa. If you align with Bushiri, whose following is not necessarily Zulu, or very little of them are Zulu, now you have Zulu people, and then you have Bushiri people who are not a specific group. Now, something interesting about who Zuma's fans or Zuma supporters are and who Bushiri's supporters are. I think the interesting thing and the genius of Floyd associating with Bushiri openly at a time like this is that Zuma supporters will support Zuma no matter who Zuma associates with. Zuma supporters will support Zuma and his party no matter what the media says about Zuma and the party and those that are in there. They have distrust of the media and they don't trust that the media will be honest in anything about Zuma. Quite similarly, Bushiri's followers and members of his church or people who believe that he is a prophet and in his miracles and whatever, probably also will support anything Bushiri would do and say, no matter what the media says about him. Now, of course, not of course, but likely, even all the things he's being accused of. Let's Google what he's being accused of. What is Bushiri accused of? Bushiri is wanted on charges of theft and money laundering in South Africa. Bushiri and his wife fled from South Africa to Malawi. Okay, cool. Theft and money laundering. Now, Bushiri and his following do not care what the media has to say about anything. And the thing we must remember is that when you make someone an enemy of the state, you are likening them to Jesus, because Jesus was an enemy of the state. So it's very easy for someone in a religious leadership position to use the Bible to liken themselves to Jesus, because the government or the state turns them into that kind of figure. We must realize, I watched Passion of the Christ from the beginning for the first time. I've always quoted from the middle. I watched it from the beginning for the first time. Jesus was more, or the way that thing played out was politics. Jesus was a political figure in that time. As much as he was using religion to garner support, it was the establishment of that time that had an issue with his influence on the people. That they would not bend down, worship, or be as disciplined as what the emperor or Caesar or whoever was president, king, prime minister in charge at the time. So they would stifle free speech, they would stifle freedom of expression, stifle freedom of association, all those things. And then I think Jesus said, give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. Obey the laws of the country you're in, which is a Bible lesson. Don't go against the government. But the government at the time did see Jesus as a criminal, as a blasphemist, speaking badly about God, speaking badly about whatever blasphemy is exactly. How dare he call himself the Son of God? So now we turn Bushiri and politicians in general that we hate, and sometimes we hate them, and things are exaggerated about what they've done, or they are persecuted and whatever, and we basically turn them into Jesus or a Jesus-like figure. So my point is, the Bushiri following, and Bushiri is armed with the Bible. I'm sure he knows the Bible very well. He's able to position himself as someone who's unfairly being persecuted by the government or the state because of his love for God. And that's what they're going to liken it to. So here's Floyd's genius. Floyd's genius is that we have a very loyal following in people of KZN. If Bushiri's people come on, very loyal, and they don't care what anyone says about anything except the person in charge, you might be able to add another 5% on your percentage of your votes that you get. Because Bushiri filled stadiums. Bushiri filled stadiums in South Africa. I know he's filled FNB. I don't know how many times a year, but at least once a year he would fill FNB, or is capable of filling FNB. And that's a big amount of people who can vote for you. So, and I'm guessing that's mostly Gauteng. And if you can make inroads in Gauteng and the municipalities there, or the districts there, you are A4 away. Until I thought Floyd was genius until MK came out and said, hey, Floyd did this thing in his own personal capacity, and MK never sent him. MK didn't know about it, and we strongly condemn association with a known fugitive. They did reference, interesting thing that they referenced, which is a thought that I had, is about the fight about freedom of association. Freedom of association, freedom of speech, those are like in the Bill of Rights or in the Constitution of something. I don't know the difference between Acts, laws, Constitution, Bill of Rights, but they all kind of a similar thing. Was a big part of what the anti-apartheid movement was fighting for and fought for, is to say, yo man, you can't just arrest someone for sitting next to someone who's a criminal. You can't arrest someone for joining a union, to someone for being part of a religion. Those things are wrong. As long as I don't participate in the criminal activity of a known criminal, doesn't make me part of the problem. And also, being associated with them doesn't make me a criminal. So my first thinking was, yeah, but Floyd did nothing wrong. Floyd did nothing wrong in associating with a religious leader, and the party will be able to back him on that front. But they said, nah. The spokesperson actually went to go check who issued that thing on behalf of, because normally it's like the spokesperson on behalf of Zuma or the spokesperson on behalf of the Secretary General. Spokesperson did it straight by himself. But now the thing is, why did they condemn him so hard? Why didn't they cover for him? And there's already issues with him and Zuma's daughter. There's already, I don't know, there's issues with him and everyone else in the party. But this is starting to feel like, yo, Floyd, you should have just stayed. You should have just stayed with the EFF. Now it's like, you did say you're willing to be like a foot soldier and you don't need to be in a leadership position. But yeah, there must be regret of joining the party. Because I doubt the regrets going to Bushiri. Because you find that Floyd also wasn't putting up a fuss. Floyd wasn't lying about the fact that he's a believer of Bushiri. Maybe he really is. And Bushiri has a lot of money, so we don't know if Bushiri is funding anyone or anything. So what does Floyd do now as a Secretary General? Like, Secretary General is basically the CEO of a company. And then your president, deputy president, they have like more like a board role. You're more like a board chairperson. Not doing day to day, but just making sure people are doing and going in the direction that we're intending. Like you're the CEO of a party. Floyd must be regretting big time what is happening. Or unless he's starting to be caught out, or that Mbalula's correct, that we've all been assuming Floyd has been in cahoots with Julius Malema, and this is all a play to bring down the MK. Julius and Floyd worked up a plan to say, hey man, go in, there's an opening. Let's play them on both sides. Because we know that Malema has someone on the inside at ANC, or there's a few people that report back to me about what's happening, senior people, if it's not Mbalula himself. Floyd might be Malema's person on the inside of MK. Now we don't know if MK has anyone in the EFF, but probably Floyd does. And we don't know if ANC has anyone in the EFF that's reporting back to them. Quite interesting politics. I wonder how it plays out in the next few months. But those are just my thoughts. I wonder how this plays out for Floyd and for MK. And the elections are supposed to be next year. Late next year, I believe. So let's see where this goes. What do you think? What do you think about Floyd going to Malawi to go to a church of a guy who's a known criminal? Sorry to hit them when it has nothing to do about it, but like, we don't blame Catholic people for going to church, even though the church in the past has done some atrocious things. It's freedom of association. Doesn't mean you endorse some of those bad things or wrong things, but it's a spiritual thing and has nothing to do with the flesh. And in any case, even if Floyd does believe or know that he's a criminal, it's not in his power to go to Malawi and bring him back. But what do you think? What do you think the play is here? who's the mastermind of these politics and who's winning right now. Anyway, let me not forget, comment, subscribe, like. Let's do all the things. I got a bit of a flu, but it's only making me sound more like Barry White. But do the things. Thank you for commenting. Those who do comment, thank you for liking. Thank you for watching. I'm Wheeler Tobias. This is the Content Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Under Podcast.
Am I allowed to swear there?
In Sweden.
Yeah, I know we said let's not blame the government.
It's just sad when we start them becoming indoctrinated. Your view on me.